Aquí estamos. Sorry, here we are. I'm so used to doing this in Spanish. It's very, very disturbing to start trying to do it in English. How are you?
Very well.
How's your day been?
Oh, very productive. I did a lot of things and I'm very happy about my day.
Well, good evening, everybody. My name's Cleverdon.
My name is Assumpta, Serna.
And what we do every day of the week is around about this time, we talk about actors, acting, film, television, agents, musicians, directing, scripts, in fact, anything you can possibly think of to do with the audiovisual sphere. And today, on a Thursday, we do it in English.
We have a very nice comments from a lot of you. One of them being my agent, Sandy Love, who I kiss you because perhaps you are there also, and she did very nice commentaries. And
yeah, it was very interesting because what we did last week, which you can see, it's all collated and archived, I suppose you could say, on our YouTube page and in the playlist, is we did an analysis of certain castings and self-tapes. Well, not self-tapes, actually, just castings, which were sort of iconic, ended up in iconic roles. And it's interesting because one of the things that Sandy said was it would be great to compare the casting to the actual final performance. One of the problems that we have with that is that because we're live right now on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and LinkedIn, not LinkedIn. You call it LinkedIn in Spain, but LinkedIn. We're live in all those places. And one of the problems that we have is if we're playing stuff which is copyrighted, they can immediately, after a very short period of time, cut the stream.
yes, LinkedIn also today, to tell you everybody, that is our first day there in English. So we are hoping that also the people there coming from LinkedIn see you there, because it's going to be very, very nice from us. New platform.
Yeah.
And it's my platform. I always loved LinkedIn.
Yeah, sometimes a big
Fan.
a big LinkedIn head. I don't know
Yes.
what do you call people who are really into LinkedIn? LinkedIners?
LinkedIners is a nice one.
It sounds like something an inner ear problem.
LinkedIn lovers.
I've got a bit of a problem with my LinkedIner. Yeah, you should get that seen to. That's terrible. So that's one of the things we're going to do today. But as always, we would like to, first of all, thank these wonderful people that we have around us. This is our family of film, or Familia de Cine, as what we call it here in Spain. And because of their support and their continuing help for us, we've been able to continue doing what we do for well over a year. Today is live stream number 272.
Well, these 120 people that you see here, that varies, a little bit every month, but they are very faithful to us, and we do thanks to their to their monthly collaboration. We are still here with you today, so it's very nice to say thank you to the people that they are helping us, supporting us, and always being there for us, and we are also being there for them. So it's a very nice spirit which is in the community of Familia de Cine, cinema family, I suppose. And well, I just wanted to tell you that if you want to be invited, the first week of every month, we have invitees. So if you have someone that wants to become part of this family, someone that can be an actor, a director, a producer, a musician, we have a lot of people from all different parts of the world. Now it's about, I think, 10 countries or more, 12 or 13 countries. Anyway, so it would be very nice that you can also invite them. So tell alumnos at fundacionfirstteam.org and tell us who you recommend, a professional that has ethics and is a nice person, and do you want actually to recommend what we are doing here, which is really helping us with everything that we can think of that an actor, a director, a producer might want to do. For instance, a project, might develop a script. Well, here we are. People that they are also consultants, that they are professionals from over the world, that they are also keen to read your projects and become a part of one of them.
I got to say some hello to some people right now. I got my brother over there, Ross Cleverdon, speaks Scottish. we look like, well, apparently we look lovely. I think you need to change your prescription, old boy. But thanks very much. I hope you're keeping well. You're looking good. You're looking trim. I could do with losing some kilos as you have, that's for sure. Edu, who's here in Madrid, he says, "Here estamos es very difficult todo eso," which is a great quote of one of our finest presidents here in Spain, of Mariano Rajoy, who was attempting to speak English to somebody, and he said, "It's very complicated, todo eso." So he almost got halfway there, which is good to hear. And we've got Ellie, who's here. It's always great to see her with us. And we had a class today.
With Ellie van der Messen-Sombref, who is actually in Sevilla, in Spain. But she's a very nice person, that she's also in the commission of apoyo. How you say that?
Help. Yeah, support, I suppose.
Support. And they are doing a very nice job, doing also all the blogs and communication, internal communication about projects and castings and people that want to meet people, and putting together this big family of 120 people.
Look, Desiree says he's a great acting coach. I assume you're talking about me. No, I'm not a great acting coach, Desiree. You're a fabulous actress. I was just there to help you realize it. That's all.
Yeah.
That's the important thing. And
I am very happy that he says this about you, because we are doing also the gestión de la carrera, the management of your career, and it's very interesting for me to also hear his take on it.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's a very delicate thing, and this is one of the reasons that I came to decide to put this on today, because anyway, I'm going to kick off, right? So this is how I'm going to kick off. Okay, so this. Do you want to do the?
Yeah, you do the magic.
Yeah, but you do the clapping.
Okay.
Today we're going to react to professional acting coaches reacting to acting. That was kind of complicated.
Yes, a lot of acting.
That was so. It's
a lot of acting involved.
So I wanted to explain. Let's just dive in. That's what everybody says. One of the things I noticed, and also one of the things I love to watch videos with experts talking about the thing that they know what to do or how to do it, and commenting on how it's represented in film and television. That could be a sniper talking about how snipers are shown in movies, or a driver showing how race car driving is shown in movies.
Or a cabinet maker, how to do a cabinet.
Yeah, one of those cabinet making movies.
Why not?
I don't know. There's a little bit of carpentry in Passion of the Christ, but it's
they are the best.
That's true. In a world of wood, in a time of carpentry.
Joe.
Yeah, well, so I've seen ones about mountain climbing. I've seen ones about musicians talking about the way these things are shown in movies. And one of the things that I started to notice, because as you know, the algorithm in YouTube has a tendency to throw these things at you. One of the things I noticed was acting coaches reacting to acting. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I was very interested, because this is sort of what we do. I guess we fall into this particular category, and it's something that we've been doing constantly for the last 20 years, and particularly we've been doing it online, live on Facebook, YouTube, etc.
Every day.
Virtually every single day.
Yes.
for the past 18 months, and so
let's say
so that we get to put our money where our mouths are. The thing that's very interesting for me, and this is the first thing I always suggest to anybody who's looking for a coach or a teacher or a school, is look up the people, see what they've done, and see what their background is. Don't look to see who they've taught, because, quite frankly, it's the actor that makes the school, not the school that makes the actor. That's a very important consideration. Alan Rickman was still going to be Alan Rickman, whether he went to RADA when he was 26 or not. It doesn't really make a great deal of difference. So those are very, very important things to do if you're looking for a school, a coach, a teacher, or anybody to help you out. Yes, Assumpta?
Yes, but it's true that what we like and what we do, as we always say, is not to harm the creativity, not to harm the person, and help with our experience as we can. So today,
Well, no, there's another thing which you've left off there, is not to harm somebody's love, passion, and will to do the job.
exactly,
Because I think one of the terrible things that happens to us when we're in training is we have a tendency to lose motivation. The more you learn about something, the more you discover that there's a lot that you don't know.
or there is a lot.
Which is kind of worrying, because I think most people leave 3 years of drama school going, God, what do I do now? I know nothing.
And also, when you know something from experience, of course, it's different than what you had imagined before.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a point where you can be also disappointed for your idea or your expectations. And it's very important also to really hear the voice of tutors and other people and see how they've done to understand better from the inside this audiovisual sector.
The other thing I want to say about the things that we're going to watch today, and we won't get through all of them because there's probably like an hour and a half of commentaries in total. The one thing I want to say, if any of these people, these coaches, they ever come around and they see what we're talking about, I don't want anybody to be offended or upset by anything, because I'm fully aware that this has been edited. It's not been edited by the people who were making the commentaries. It's been put together by Insider, which is a very big YouTube channel. It's very slickly done. It's very nicely done. But the criticism is not of the individual, but more it has to do with what people, the way that they're talking about things. Because I think this is something that's, quite frankly, I've never ever heard anybody else talk about it. We talk about music criticism, we talk about film criticism, we can talk about literature, and it's the criticism of literature. Thank you for the stars, Ellie, I love you, both individually and as a group. That's very nice of you. All of those things are... They're not as important as exactly how things are talked about. Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. I was talking about criticism. So film, literature, art, music, whatever. But nobody talks about the criticism of acting. There is no criteria for criticizing acting.
Yes.
Because the mechanism by which it works is by its very nature latent. It's hidden. You can't see it. When it's good, you don't see it. If you do see it, there's a problem.
And I think it's very necessary that people from our industry actually understands what is a good acting and what is the difference when you see good acting, how it's being done. It's not by magic. It's not because someone is very good. It's because there is also a technique behind this actor that assures whatever role he has on their hands. So it's very important that people start thinking about that. Also, now is everything is on your mobile, and the people communicate much more, so we can understand more the signs of truthfulness or authenticity. And it's interesting that it's an obligation almost that we understand as actors what we are doing really profoundly, not as an aficionado.
And one of the things that characterizes some of these commentaries are, I'm sure the people work very well as coaches and they can help actors, but one of the things that we're lacking when it comes to the criticism of acting, and I mean criticism in the same way, not just saying it's bad or good, but one of the things that we lack is a vocabulary, a common vocabulary, and an understanding of what acting is attempting to achieve. One of the difficulties that we have with acting is it's so part of an entire network of other people working with one single goal, which is to tell a story. So very often, and I've discovered this myself, it's something I used to do in class. I used to take scenes that actors had shot and I would edit them so they were much better. And then I would edit them so they were much worse. So you can actually take a scene and destroy it and make everybody look like a crap actor by just re-editing it in a particularly mean way. So these other things have to be taken into consideration. The other things that are important that we have to look at as well is the context of how it was done. It's going to be very different if it's something that's low budget or if it's something that's big budget. One of the difficult things, one of the tricky things you find is the bigger the budget, the less, what's the word? risky and spontaneous the acting is. That's one of the things about Robert Downey Jr., which we saw last week, which was he was probably in the biggest film of the year and ended up being in the biggest film franchise of all time. And yet what he brought to the table was a sort of spontaneity and an irreverence which most other actors and directors would be incredibly intimidated by.
Exactly. This confidence about himself in a moment when he was not confident at all.
So I have 3 videos for us today.
That is called acting, by the way.
That's called acting. That's how it works. So I have 3 videos for us today. The first one is about angry scenes. We're already off to the races with that because that's problematic in terms of describing something. We're after rage scenes, love at first sight scenes, and Batman villain scenes.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what we've got on the cards today. Are you ready, Assumpta?
Yes, let's go for the angry.
Yeah, we're gonna go straight to angry. Let me 1 second. Okay, talk amongst yourselves. Okay, and there we go. That's not the angry scene, although I'm a big fan of Kristen Stewart. People laugh at me. They go, "Why do you like Kristen Stewart?" I think Kristen Stewart is an extraordinary actress. The fact that she was capable of playing Bella for all those films in Twilight and surviving and making some kind of sense of it and being interesting enough to survive, as far as I'm concerned, it's
an achievement.
It's a hell of an achievement. Okay. King Kong! Okay, so one of the things that I have to warn everybody up front, this is a video which has pieces of other videos in it. Okay. I'm going to be stopping it, so we're not going to be playing very, very long bits because I don't want to get cut off halfway through, okay? So if I seem unreasonable...
By Facebook or by...
Facebook or specifically by YouTube, because there's a few people out there on YouTube right now. Okay, so anyway, this is the introduction to the video, and it actually kicks off with a scene from a training day with Denzel Washington. So Keira Duffy. Okay, my dear Keira. Right? Let me just... Okay.
I don't believe that she is feeling a gut-wrenching anger. Hi, I'm Kira, and I'm an acting coach based in the UK.
Now, this is a very curious thing. Keira Duffy is an acting coach who has an MA in acting, and she graduated from the Royal Central School of Speech and Drama a few years ago. She has 3 acting credits to her name. God love her.
3 acting credits?
Yeah.
In a shorts or?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
Okay. I have issues with people who are coaching people in acting they've either never done it or they haven't been teaching long enough to work out how to do it. No offense, Kieran. I'm sure you're a lovely person and I'd love to find out where your head is at and all this sort of stuff. However, when I left drama school, I couldn't coach my way out of a wet paper bag.
Yeah, no. You didn't have either the arrogance or
no, it's not. It's not arrogance. I think people are capable of directing people. I think they can do that. But I think coaching is such a delicate thing because one of the things you're attempting to do is not just make it so this person achieves this thing on this particular day. You want to give something to somebody that will be able to continue to use in the future. And the most important thing is that you need to stop yourself from becoming necessary. Now, in business terms, that's a terrible idea. If I want to sell somebody a product, I want them to keep coming back to me. No, that's the idea. I'm not interested in that. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a little bit like a father who doesn't want their child to leave home.
What I appreciate is that her name is really what we see more, that reminds me that we are not very good at marketing ourselves, Scott. Where are our names in all this?
What, you want your name up there? I can do that.
It's very interesting because a lot of people know exactly how to sell themselves, you know, and that is great, you know. I love to have this ability, but I suppose you cannot have it all. So let's.
Right, I'm gonna. There you go. There you go. You can have that.
Thank you.
There you go. I'll make it bigger.
Oh yeah. No, it doesn't matter.
You like that?
Okay.
I'm gonna put that there. You like that?
Yeah.
All right. So this is what you're
really big.
You're seeing the magic happening right now.
It's really big. You don't need to be that big. But and then anyway, it's true.
She didn't do that though. That wasn't her. That was the person who edited the.
He edited the thing. Okay, so.
Right. So I think this is going to happen. Is this going to right? Let me just see if this happens because I have a theory. Yep. Okay. So that obviously doesn't work because it's going to appear when we go to her. So screw that.
That's how you don't do it.
That's how I do it. That's why I didn't do it. I just remembered. Hey, let's see. Desiree says,
if you haven't done it, it's so hard to make an actor understand what he has to do because it is so hard to explain that mechanism.
Yeah, one of the things that's interesting because working with Desiree, as happens with I'm working with many actors, is that I'm very, very conscious of the thing that I would need to hear as an actor that would engage that mechanism, make that click happen. You can't explain something if you don't know how to do it, as far as I'm concerned. You're not going to get a piano teacher who doesn't know how to play the piano.
Exactly.
And so much of the time that what I'm attempting to do when I'm working with actors is to sort of unlock that thing that I didn't get unlocked until years after being an actor. It took me a very long time to work it out. So
let's see the video, Scott.
Yep. Dan, my dearest Dan, he bought us a coffee. We bought us 3 coffees actually, which you can get us on buymeacoffee.com/Assumpta Serna. Thank you, Dan. It's good to see you. We liked your demo that we saw the other day.
Says such a good point. Coaching is a very specific claim, Dan says.
Yeah, very specific. Okay, so let's see what she says.
Okay, and today I'm going to be looking at rage scenes, the good, the bad, and the in-between.
You shut up! You shut up! Shut up!
There's such an arc of emotion that goes through Leo's character in such a small space of time.
The only respectable thing about you, old sport, is your money. Your money, that's it. I have just as much as you. That means we're equal. Oh, no.
Arc of emotion that goes through Leo's character in a short space of time. Okay, I'm not quite sure whether she's commenting on this as an acting coach or as an audience member. Okay, because that's what you say as an audience member. Okay, that's not what I see when I look at it. I'm looking at a whole bunch of different things, which is I need to see all of it, so I need to see how he pieced it all together.
We're different.
See, what I see when I see there, which is a really nice little... Did you see that little moment? DiCaprio's been doing this since he was knee-high to a grasshopper. He's a very experienced actor, and he's been doing it ever since he was a child. And ever since he was a child, he was extraordinary. He absorbs the attention of the character like very few actors are capable of doing, and he's very, very conscious of how to use it and how to hide in it. There's a tiny moment there where he reveals to us, the audience, his fear, right? And this is why this is a bit of a red herring, this idea that we're talking about scenes of rage. Because nobody is actually interested in anybody being angry. What's interesting is what's going on behind it and what they reveal to us. And that's the real difference between the actor who knows what they're doing and is playing the jazz of it and the actor who's desperately trying to get through the scene without forgetting their lines.
There is also a very nice thing that I notice, and I think is good for the actors that they're watching us. That you know what they have chosen in the point of view of makeup with these actors. They made them sweat. They made them shiny. They made them in a closed atmosphere, as we see, and it goes very nice that with what we're going to see afterwards, right?
Yeah.
It's nice to see all these things because all these things add up, so they are signs that the spectator actually can grab from it. And that is a construction of a character, of course. Also, what you have to do with makeup and hair and costume.
Also, fun fact is this is directed by Baz Luhrmann from this novel by F. Scott Fitzgerald, The Great Gatsby. And we interviewed the composer, Craig Armstrong, on this very show in a massive Zoom, almost exactly a year ago today. With Philip Noyce, the film director. So,
and it's interesting this thing that you say about the presence because there is a lot of people there, and what had been the choice of the costume department. They put Leonardo DiCaprio in white which is very interesting, you know. So he to make sure that he really stands up.
That goes through Leo's character in such a small space of time.
The only respectable thing about you, old sport, is your money. Your money, that's it. I've just as much as you. That means we're equal. Oh, no, no. We're different.
You see? Did you see that little glimmer of fear? Where he doesn't entirely believe what he's claiming? Here it is.
I've just as much as you. That means we're equal. Oh, no, no.
There. This is the difference between an extraordinary movie actor and the rest of humanity. The good thing is, you can learn how to do it, but you got to know what it is. You can't learn how to do something unless you can identify it and know what it is.
He's thinking, why are you interrupting me? You know, he's thinking that in that particular second is, you know, what I'm going to do next. No idea. Is the uncertainty of what's going to happen. Why is shocked by, you know, his interruption, which is difficult to do when you know your script, you know, because you have to choose these moments as if they were the first time that you hear the line. So that is also something that you can do with a technique by, you know, keywords that you can mark from the other actor to really have the reaction exactly what it needs to be done. And remembering it, of course, and that, you know, this kind of acting is when you see that it's not really what you say, but what you think.
I met Leonardo DiCaprio in 1994, I think it was, just before he did Romeo plus Juliet, as it's written, Romeo and Juliet, with Baz Luhrmann, who's the same director of this film. And this was after he just did What's Eating Gilbert Grape, which I believe he was nominated for an Oscar for, which also starred Johnny Depp back in the day.
Great character.
It's a great performance, and it's a very nice movie. It's a relatively small movie and well worth watching it. And I congratulated him on that, and I asked him about Romeo and Juliet, you know, because I was interested. I wanted to know who was going to play Mercutio. And he said he wasn't sure yet. But the first thing that struck me is he's very tall. He's extremely tall. He's about 6'3". And the next thing that struck me was that I'd never met anybody as relaxed as he was in my entire life. I mean, literally, he was like he was made out of rubber. He was so laid back. And on reflection, I was wondering, well, how's he so laid back? Well, this is a guy who's been absorbing everybody's attention since he was pretty young. This is pre-Titanic as well. So he had very little to prove to everybody. But one of the things that's very, very important is that he was always struggling and fighting with this idea that he was locked into this young guy, this teenager, this guy in his 20s. And it's only now, he still looks very, very young for his age. And I think he's a little younger than me. Damn him. But this is very important. And this is the most interesting thing that when you're analyzing acting is to look behind the words, try and work out what it is that they're doing, and more than anything else, what they're trying to hide with us. And the only way you can really do that is to accept the attention of the camera, be very clear on where it is, and confide in its attention, moving swiftly along.
We're different. It's in our blood. You're nothing that you do, yeah.
He starts off pretty smug, pretty in control. It's not long before he's shaken and rattled and you just see a quick look of doubt on his face. And then when he's pushed to breaking point, the build-up in it is so brilliant. The soundtrack absolutely helps. The ticking along with his facial expression changing really...
Oh my dear. His facial expression changing. We're amongst friends, right? If anybody ever talks to you about gestures, anybody ever talks to you about facial gestures or facial expressions, you really have to question if they know anything about acting. Acting what happens to your face and your body is incidental as to what's going on inside your head, and if you want to be esoteric about it, what's going on in here. Those are the things which change what happens to our face.
We cannot correct or better an acting job by remembering or imitating or doing gestures on our face. That is not how you're gonna act. You're gonna act by thinking and having all the subtext necessary on your head. It's a different thought that you are looking in every time that you are performing, right?
Yeah. Other than that, it's like trying to tell a horse how to walk.
It's from the outside. We cannot do things from outside. You see, we cannot. We cannot really be a spectator in that case. We have to really go to really become a coach. You really have to go into the motivation and to the actual click that is going to happen with that person. You cannot talk about faces.
And the other thing I have to say to Kira here, and this is not criticism as well, because I believe what she's doing is she's narrating what's going on in the scene, which is okay. But she's also speaking to a general audience, which I also understand. We are, I hope, speaking to a much more, how would you say, specific demographic of people who know acting, understand acting, are actors, or have a profound interest in exactly how all this works. And hi to everybody on LinkedIn. So let's keep going.
You on that inner journey with him, and you can feel the rage ticking up in him.
Say a steal, a dream up. You ever chase that?
You shut up!
And his face is almost contorted by the anger. His cheeks are literally shaking and quivering with his rage.
Okay, where does rage come from? Right? Rage comes from when you want something so much and you can't have it. That's the thing which causes this metabolic change. This is why your heart races. This is why you become testosterone surges through your veins. This is why you are quick to action, and if you're not careful, you can do something which is violent. One of the problems that you have with alcohol, which reduces your inhibitions. This is why 90% of all violent crimes happen when somebody's been drinking.
And they are hot.
That also happens when they're hot. Do you mean hot like?
No, not hot.
Like Margot Robbie hot?
Not like let's fuck.
Like Brad Pitt hot? It's language, please.
Sorry. No, like
okay.
Let's make love.
Okay,
no.
Well done. Yeah, all those are indications. And really, what we're doing when we're angry, in particular in this case, he's thinking, I'm going to kill you.
Exactly.
I am going to kill you. But he can't.
Right now, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you so bad, And that is really it, You have to put this necessity in Kahoot. You can say that in Kahoot. No.
In Kahoot to join it.
In
marry
Kahoot,
it.
Exactly.
I never heard Kahoot before.
No.
In
you
cahoots.
Didn't say that? In cahoots? I don't know.
Sort of conspiring together.
Yeah, conspiring together.
Okay.
With this. With that person that really bothers you, and then these things happen, but necessity is also something that is at the level of 10. Let's say if we have from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest rage. Well, you have to, if you have to really hit someone, you really are pretty much there, And this building up is something that an actor knows how to do it because that's what we do. That's where we dance.
This is
okay. So it's not that difficult, really.
And this is the interesting thing here. Are you expecting a call? No. Okay, so very peculiar. Now we could say, well, everybody can be angry. Everybody could do that sort of thing. Everybody, we've all been filled with rage. So what's the difference between an actor and a non-actor? Well, the difference is that the actor can do it when somebody shouts action. and they're there 100%, and they're completely committed to what they're engaged in, and they're not going to hurt anybody. Even though there's a very famous scene that's in Django Unchained when Leonardo DiCaprio actually cut his own hand because he brought it down on a glass, and the blood in the scene is his blood. But like a trooper, he carried on because it was his own stupid fault.
Yeah, and who did also Tom Cruise, right? That he also in one stunt.
Well, no, Tom Cruise is getting like Jackie Chan. Well, there's a bit where he's jumping from one building to the next, and he breaks his ankle, and then after he broke his ankle, they had to do the reverse shot, and he's actually hobbling away with a broken ankle. We get back to the scene with Martin Sheen in Apocalypse Now when he's very drunk and he punches a mirror and he cuts his hand, and that's his blood as well.
But these things happen, but it shouldn't happen,
no,
right?
They really shouldn't happen.
Because really what we want is not that we suffer, that we are hurt, that we are actually experiencing the same thing. Mostly because if we do that, it's not really, you don't see that dangerous thing when you go with the building. When you see Tom Cruise jumping on the building, you don't feel that he actually broke something. You don't see it. So why to do it if you don't see it?
Well, because it's Tom Cruise jumping between buildings.
But I mean, why do it?
Tom Cruise is now the greatest special effect in film.
No, but I mean, you don't have to do reality if this reality cannot be seen by the audience. That's my point. You really have to choose your actions in conjunction with the point of view of the camera, and so camera being the first spectator. So it really, when there is a action scene or there is something that you can be hurt or something like that, you really have precisely there. You have to really take care of not being hurt or hurt someone, anyone.
Don't be a wuss, but don't try to be a tough guy.
Yeah, of course.
Don't try to be a tough guy. You're not impressing anybody. That's really, really important, particularly if you're working in things which are lower budget. Don't go, it doesn't matter. You'll do it once, okay, but when you have to do it 15 times, that's when things begin to hurt. That's when they begin to hurt bad. Should we keep going?
Yes.
Well, so Jose Miguel, I'm not ignoring you. I'm back there in a second.
There's clear conflict within the scene between the two men, but also between what's happening internally with his character and what he wants others to think of him. He wants people to think he's a gentleman, that he's just like them. The sad thing about this scene is in his action, he proves that he's not. What's beautiful about it then is his character's realization and how his awareness is initially on the other character and then grows and sees himself in the room.
Kira, it's a very nice analysis of what happens.
But it's not about acting.
But we're not talking about acting. But it's perfectly, I got no disagreement with everything that you say there.
Jeez, I seem to lost my temper. You snotty little...
Yeah, I think the most interesting thing to comment here is this moment of realization, when it happens and how it happens. I think that's Leonardo DiCaprio showed to do it, and the director showed it to us also with a close-up, but also in a general shot, and also in the reverse shot. So this same realization, it had been shot in 3 different times, in 3 different positions of camera, and he is still really there at the same moment. That's something that perhaps someone that you get in the street cannot really do it. That is why an actor is what it is, because it's hard to do that. And be really convincing in the 3 different points of view of a camera.
Jose Miguel has a question here, which I've been contemplating for the last minute, and I have an answer for him. The question is...
What is the best film by Leo, in your opinion? I think he's theatrical when he's angry, like this film that you show.
I think the greatest film that he's ever done, I mean, his performance, which I think is the closest to what he's good at is Catch Me If You Can.
Yes, it's a wonderful movie.
And not only that, he goes from playing somebody who's like 16 to playing somebody who's in their late 20s. And what it has is something which is lacking in many of the other films, which he's brilliant in. The Departed, Revenant, this film. He's always quality in everything he does. But there's certainly something that he had when he did Titanic, which was incredible charm. And also what he has in Catch Me If You Can, which is just it's one of the most difficult things to do as an actor. And it takes incredible confidence, and not only the confidence on the part of the actor, but the confidence on the part of the people around him to be that extraordinarily charming. He has that a little bit in Wolf of Wall Street, but I think what he's trying to do in Wolf of Wall Street, like he has in the other grown-up films, as it were, is he's trying to test his mettle as an actor. I think that's really what he's pushing himself for. I don't know. What do you think?
Yes, I mean, for me, it's always very interesting to see Leonardo DiCaprio, because I see, a man now in his 50s that can choose everything that you want, no? So for me, it's very interesting to understand why he have chosen this particular movie, and is sometimes it's because he wants to do things that he hadn't done before. Sometimes it's really because he works with friends, and he repeats with the same people, which is I think is wonderful. And this, the big challenges for him is really to be, as all good actors, really motivated by the material, and that is something that a lot of other actors really can lose in their career, and he didn't. Some they do for money. Some he does it really because he really wants to do that thing that is the next movie.
Well,
and that's very interesting.
The other thing I would have to say that I also think he is magnificent in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, but also his first film about he who loves.
What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
Exactly. What?
What's Eating Gilbert
exactly.
Grape?
He's fantastic. He's fantastic, and he's very young, but he really has this wonderful quality of someone that is present, that is authentic, that he looks for the things. I mean, it was very difficult to do this character. Of course, you say, well, always is, to crazy people or to people with problems or
disabilities or whatever.
Disabilities is always, yes, but you still have to do it. It's easy because, you can do everything, but you still have to do it. And he did it extremely well.
Yeah, and I actually started to watch it again last night, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I forgot just how precise and detailed his acting is. And it's interesting because you've got Brad Pitt and you've got Leonardo DiCaprio, and they're two actors who were very famous for being good-looking kind of Hollywood pin-ups, particularly when they were young. And both of them have the same thing, and this is the great thing about that movie, is they both appear to be having great fun doing that movie. Mm-hmm. And they're both very exposed. And you've got these two different... What you do is you have Brad Pitt, who's the secondary character, with Leonardo DiCaprio, who's playing the kind of leading man. But he's not the alpha male that Brad Pitt is. So but that's who he's playing all the time. Mm-hmm. And it's got the most wonderful scene in the film when the little girl who's in the scene with him in the Western TV show he's shooting tells him how good she thought he was in the scene. And it's like the first time anybody has actually complimented on him and on what he does as an actor in forever. It's quite beautiful.
If I have to critique something of that scene that we've seen about the acting of Leonardo DiCaprio, I would say that the reaction after the revelation is a little bit long. And it shows me that, he does it authentically and we almost forget it. But I think that if we compare that with a truthful reaction in a room full of people, wouldn't be that long. Okay, wouldn't be, it wouldn't be more discreet. It would be more, simply because even if you are in the hundreds of your rage, you still, the powerful looks of everybody in the room is going to really, slow you down in this reaction. Slow you down. I mean, going faster in this reaction. Can you see it again so they understand what I'm saying? I'm not clear about my English sometimes, and I like to. So you see, of course, also is the
here.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after they have the
There's
realization.
Clear conflict within this scene between the two men, but also between what's happening internally with his character and what he wants others to.
So as you see, they've done.
They've also cut it about because they're trying not to get their video banned as well.
And also there is a little bit of of slowing motion on the actual reaction. That's why we see all these cheeks going about.
Yeah.
So which is interesting, because they crack a little bit the movie, But what I'm saying is about the general shot.
He wants people to think he's a gentleman, that he's just like
So
them.
we're going back to the beginning of the
sad
scene.
thing about the scene is in his action, he proves that he's not. What's beautiful about it then is his character's realization and how his awareness is initially on the other character and then grows and sees himself in the room.
Okay.
Apologies. Listen to. Lost my temper. You snot.
Okay, so it's a little bit, how you say that when is Leonardo DiCaprio, nobody's going to tell him, faster, please. So how you say that is what I mean? I know that this moment was, but it's already, we understood, in the moment of this, very primer plano, how you say, close up, you understand what's going on. And then, this look that he has at the people there inside. So, it's a little bit, how you say that, offering the lily? No.
Egging the pudding, gilding the lily.
Gilding the lily, exactly.
Milking it.
Milking it, exactly. And I think the spectator deserves a little bit better than that.
But it also has to be seen contextually within,
Exactly.
within the running time of the
movie and how it's there. But see it like that alone, you can feel a little bit this, a little bit being carried away. Okay.
Yeah, let's. I wanted to go past A Few Good Men because it's Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson going, "You can't handle the truth." Oh yeah, he's doing that, which is, we know what's going on there. It's not particularly complicated. She does Rachel McAdams, which, I'm a big fan of Rachel McAdams. It's not from Mean Girls. I'm not a big fan of that.
What would help is if he pays more attention to the other character.
Okay, so she's talking about.
No, let's see it. Let's see.
It's just not good. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger trying to be emotional in End of Days, which is a film about Armageddon. It's another one of those end of the world films and existential films that was made in 1999. You had The Truman Show, you had Matrix, you had The 13th Floor, and you also had Dark City. And all of these films were like talking about the end of everything. The way it goes.
Which is the 2000 coming, right?
Yeah, they should have just waited until the beginning of 2020. But anyway, it's not particularly.
Your attention away from how can I show that I'm angry onto the other person and how you see.
It's really not particularly relevant. Anyway, I wanted to do this because everybody loves a bit of Samuel Jackson, and there's a very interesting thing that.
What the hell? What does Marcellus Wallace look like? What? What country you from? What ain't no country I ever heard of? They speak English and what? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what one more goddamn time.
The focus is completely there from Samuel L. Jackson.
No shit, Sherlock. Right. Samuel Jackson, his voice when he speaks. Now, we got to remember that Samuel Jackson is a man who'd been through some rough times when he was younger. He was addicted to crack. He was living on the street. He had a very, very bad time of things. So he is a man who fully understands how it is to
be enraged.
and had to walk in the darkness.
Yeah.
Okay, his commitment, his joy, and his passion is always present. And the other thing is his voice, his absolutely beautiful voice. When I hear his voice, I'm hearing the blues. Okay, that's what I hear. I hear something which is lyrical. I hear something which is, it's his. It's absolutely impossible to comment on Samuel Jackson's acting. You know, he can literally read the telephone book, and it would be awesome. And there's people who can do that. There are people who can do that. It's Christopher Walken. You know, he's another one. There was a very famous, you know, Samuel Jackson does the kids' bedtime story of "Go the fuck to sleep."
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And you've got, I think it was on Channel 4 in the UK. You had Christopher Walken who was doing bedtime stories. You know, little pig, no, I'll blow your house in. Yeah, you know, he was doing that whole thing. You know, and there's guys like that, or they have such complete commitment to what they've discovered that works for them. So when we get this, we have this rabble-rousing preacher, and that's what it is. The lyricism and the vocality, the baroque sound of almost like a southern preacher, and it's Samuel Jackson, and he does it everywhere all the time.
That he's just so intently staring at the guy who's about to gun down. It completely pulls your attention as a viewer.
Well, there's this passage I got memorized. Sort of fits this occasion.
It's almost like there's there.
Bit of trivia for you. In Captain America, the Winter Soldier, Nick Fury, this isn't a spoiler. Well, maybe it is. Switch off for 30 seconds. I'm going to talk about the Winter Soldier and who gets killed. Nick Fury's grave, it has the chapter and verse from the Bible, which is Ezekiel 5:17. That's on Nick Fury's grave. And that's the passage from the Bible that he says here. And Nick Fury, of course, he plays Nick Fury
That's interesting.
in the Marvel movies. It's all very incestuous.
It's literally a target in front of him, and everything he's saying is delivered pointedly to that target, as well as the gunshots, his words. He is very much in control of what he's saying. There's no superfluous movement or breath or anything. So even though he's showing anger, there is a performative element to this whole sequence. This is a rehearsal.
Now, there's a very simple way to get that out of somebody, if they're capable of doing it, is that what he is the angel of God, or the angel of death in this particular moment. This is a speech about divine vengeance, right? So if I say to you as an actor, you have been sent by God to annihilate this person, but not until they understand why, right? It's very, very curious, because there's a whole range of mechanisms which go on inside of actors and acting that they're kind of mysterious, right? Because you can't really understand what they are, because if you understood them, we would just understand everything about people. And you get someone like Samuel Jackson, and he's a Stradivarius.
Yes, you can. I mean, even if you don't know very well the ins and outs of English, you can hear, you know, this music of, like he says in jazz, know how he says things is you know, it comes from a place of commitment in an idea that he has really until the end. No, it's these things that we always say about you know, why you're doing it.
What can we learn from Samuel Jackson? We have to stop learning. We have to stop giving a damn. We have to stop caring so much about what everybody thinks. We have to stop. We have to stop doing that. We have to stop comparing ourselves to other people. We have to stop dancing to everybody else's music. We have to stop singing everybody else's song. What we have to do is we have to become the one-man band, the singer, the dancer, and everything else that's there, and it has to be ours. That's the thing. And the great news
when
is...
you are the angel of death.
When you're the angel of death. No, that's how I go to the shops and buy a pint of milk. I am here to buy milk, and you will bring it to me now. No.
when you're out of an elevator.
Yeah, that's when you're walking out of the
Working out of an elevator. Exactly.
I'm here. So one of the things that, and this is the fun thing that we're always attempting to do, is trying to work out how to unlock those things in all the actors. Desiree said,
I once heard an acting coach saying that acting is heightened reality. Maybe that's why he's taking longer.
I think she was referring to DiCaprio.
No, not really. I don't think so. No, sometimes the actors get so
high on their own supply.
Yeah, high in their own supply. That and there is nobody there to really calm them down, and they really believe it, and they but sometimes you have to be a little bit cruel because if the spectator had already get it, is milking it.
Just remember what it's the thing about emotion not being particularly interesting. It reminds me of, who says it? It's Jake, the body, the wrestler who's in the film, in film Predator. That great, wonderful classic film from the 1980s. If you've never seen it, go watch Predator. It stars Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's directed by John McTiernan, who went on to make Die Hard, and Jake, the body, I can't remember his name. He became a senator. There's a point saying you're bleeding. He said, "I ain't got time to bleed." There's a thing about that which is I've always found very poignant, which is about emotion and actors. It's like you shouldn't have time to be upset. Moving on. Right. Anyway, meanwhile, back at Jackson.
It really lengthens and leans into the words, so it feels biblical. Obviously, it's from the Bible, but it gets this sense of power that really comes through the way he's just furious.
With great vengeance and furious anger, and you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
CBS 2 has obtained this exclusive.
Yeah, it's a tough one to comment on. It's a tough one to do a commentary on. It's very, very hard because he's such a Samuel Jackson is just one of a kind.
Oh, one of a kind. And I think that's that to find your own voice is really what it gets also to be there, to be in the chosen ones.
I highly recommend you watch a film called, it's not a great film, but watch it's called The 57th State, I believe it is. And it stars Samuel Jackson and Robert Carlyle. And the reason it's interesting is because Samuel Jackson spends the entire film in a kilt. They actually made him his own tartan, believe it or not. But that's,
really?
Yeah, he wears a kilt through the whole film.
That is your own tartan?
Yeah, it's a Samuel Jackson's kilt.
Oh, that's great. And you can buy this fabric?
I'm sure you can. I'm sure it's made by a kilt maker in Scotland somewhere.
Oh, okay.
But it's kind of it's a fun movie. It's amazing. I think Samuel Jackson must be in his late 60s now. I mean, he's just extraordinary.
Okay.
So the next one we have is Nightcrawler, which is a very interesting film. This is Jake Gyllenhaal or however the heck you pronounce it. I never know. Gunning for an Oscar, right? So what did he do? He lost some weight, tortured himself a bit, and the film is grim. It's a dark film. It's a film about. I guess you could say, the voyeurism that we all partake in when it comes to the news, that we're all attracted. If it bleeds, it leads. And really what it does is it implicates us as an audience in the creation of this sort of ghoulishness. Yeah.
What is the name?
It's called Nightcrawler. We watched it. Oh. We saw it some time ago.
Video. And we want to remind you now that what you're about to see is graphic and viewer discretion is advised. Here's what
In this scene, you really get the sense of the primal aspect of anger. There's no audience here. He's not doing it for anyone else. It's just pure rage that's coming out. I think he does such a good job in it. He lets it into his whole body, his whole face.
It's interesting. Yeah, she's right. She's right in what she says. My question to it, if I read this in a script, I go, why is this in the script? What am I showing here? I guess I'm showing him in his breaking point. Okay. But is there a less actory way to do it than in a mirror? There's a scene right at the start of House of Cards, which was directed the first few episodes by David Fincher, with Kevin Spacey, and the most extraordinary scene that tells us everything you need to know about this man. There's, at the end of the street, a dog has been hit by a car and it's in pain. And he goes up to the dog and they call for the vet and everything else. And he strangles the dog without anybody looking.
I remember that.
And what does that tell us? It tells us he does what is necessary. He feels no remorse. He has no emotion involved in it. He just does whatever is necessary for him to get on with his day.
Yeah,
thematically, it's a very an incredible piece of exposition as well. The thing here, metaphorically, this is a little on the nose, because it's somebody who's shattering their own image and they're left with a broken piece across their face.
Yes.
You know, I'm sure they were very happy when that happened if it wasn't put in digitally afterwards. But, you know, I kind of get it. What's interesting is that people...
And I don't see the body. Sorry, Kira. I don't see the body. I see only his face. So I don't know why you're saying that he's so intense in his body. And no, it's always in...
I think Jake Gyllenhaal is a fantastic actor.
I particularly love the way that he turns away from the mirror when the mirror is broken and you catch his reflection and all that rage has just dropped off of him. Even though the rage isn't showing on him anymore, there's still a darkness behind his eyes, and you feel like it's part of his narrative that will carry on with him. So in contrast to the scene with Arnold
that is nice. That is a nice thing to say. Yes, it's true. But I would say what is exactly the motivation of this actor there. So after he's angry, he just really.
Okay, I'm remembering specifically about the film now. The point of the scene is that he's trying to feel something. Mm-hmm. He's trying to feel something. He's trying to be angry. He's trying to be filled with rage, and he smashes the mirror and does all the things that you're supposed to do, and it doesn't work because he's a sociopath. The reason that he's able to do what he does and see dead people and violence and all the rest of it is because he doesn't feel those things. Mm-hmm. He's incapable of having those particular emotions.
So the way that he actually does when he turns around is because that's what the scene was all about, right? It's not that he does it, it's because the scene was all about, him that didn't feel anything about, and that was the point. So it's interesting that they've chosen to do it while he's away, but it's much more interesting than to show things on the light, and right on your face. So I think that the actor really did what was written in the scene, really.
Interesting. Jose Miguel says, in my opinion, there are frames, I suppose when he says photograms, there are frames where we see feels an emotion that the actor does. It looks like a comic scene in this clip. Well, I think in this particular scene that what he's attempting to do is feel something. He's doing his best to actually feel something. That's everything that he's doing. And then when he smashes everything up, he doesn't feel anything at all.
Yeah, which is the point of the scene.
Okay, let's.
It's not something that the actor does because he's a good actor. It's actually what it is in the scene. Yeah.
Kate Winslet.
It's a very different thing, coaching actors. Coach an actor, you have to understand that what the scene does, or what the scene wants to tell people. And sometimes we think that as actors we can do a lot of things, but not too many. Not too many. You have to really understand what is in the scene. And some of the actors are not really ready to do that, ready to understand what is in the page. They just go into places where it's not written, and that is a problem because it goes away from the objective of the scene, and that is also what a coach can actually always remember, because he is detached and from the outside, and and that is the point. He always. You always have to be very, very conscious of this objective of the scene that sometimes is contradictory on what the objective of the character is. So it's very interesting to actually do that in every single scene that you have as a lead actor.
One of the things I think that happens to an actor when you have more experience on working in film and television on camera is that you begin to understand how something will be seen and assembled afterwards. How it will be perceived through this window, which is the camera. Remember, the biggest difference between film and theater, television and theater is the size of the window. In theater, the window is enormous because everybody's behind it. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of people who are behind it there, and they're all looking at you across this huge wide window, and you have to relate to them and share things with them. But sometimes they're not just down here, they're also up there, and you have to be able to relate to them in that way. When you're on film working with cameras, the camera's very small. There's only one person behind it effectively, and you need to understand the composition of the frame, your place in it, and exactly what the dynamic of your presence is there. Where those vectors lie, where you're going, where you're coming from, what the continuity of it is, and how you can offer, when you know what you're doing, is you actually will begin to offer points of edit to the editor. You can actually begin to control the editing. The most, and I should do this someday, I've got to do this, an analysis of David Caruso controlling the editing, whether it's CSI Miami or New York or Jade.
It's interesting.
Which is one of my favorite lines from a movie.
Which one you would say?
What, David Caruso? Jade.
No. Jade. Okay.
Jade. One of my favorite lines from a movie, which is from The 40-Year-Old Virgin, when Seth Rogen is trying to teach Steve Carell how to pick up a girl who's played by Elizabeth Berkley, who's also in Catch Me If You Can, and that's what made her a movie star. And he says, just answer every question she has with another question, and be kind of a dick, like David Caruso in Jade. And he goes, I know exactly what you mean. And what David Caruso does is he physically, and also the way he speaks, moves, and everything else, is completely controlling where they're going to cut. It's amazing. And
that's what we love. We love, actors that they are really taking care of the final edit.
And he retired in 2014.
Really? Didn't know?
Yeah, he retired.
Wow.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, well, I suppose.
Yeah.
How old is he?
I guess he must be in his early 60s now.
Wow. Okay.
I suppose. Yeah, he should be in his early 60s. I mean, he had an incredible career. But, people retire. Sean Connery, Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
Do
you think I should retire? I'm just sorry. It just crossed my mind. Let's talk about that another day.
Are they going to let you retire?
You?
No, they're going to let you retire? Get a pension?
No.
You're going to have to be working until you're about 88 to get a pension. We worked that out the other day.
Okay, so it's 9:12.
It's 9:12. But let's just watch Kate Winslet.
Okay, the last one.
I know that one of the things that you can from one side criticize what somebody's commenting on and criticizing about acting, but it's very hard to watch it. It's very hard to resist the temptation to do the same thing as they're doing. I mean, I understand it implicitly, and I've got a lot of these, so I'm very interested by them. So let's just watch Kate Winslet. This was my other revelation. Going back to what. There you go. David 65. Caruso, 65 years old. Thank you, Ellie. It's like my producer over there. He's 65 years old. There we go. I believe that Leonardo DiCaprio has a very youthful essence to him that he's been trying to overcome his entire acting career. When he gives into it, he is sublime. but the rest of the time he's kind of playing a character, which is not optimal. Anyway, let's go back to, because this is interesting, because now we got Jack and Rose from Titanic, but they're in Revolutionary Road.
By talking, you be.
Let me just go back.
Just acting like a big kid.
Get your gun! Take it and move on!
Right,
Oh, Frank, you really are a wonderful talker. If black could be made into white by talking, you'd be the man for the job.
Sometimes when people are doing a scene, they can lean into the most obvious choice of, oh, I'm angry, therefore everything must come out in a really attacking, aggressive, loud way. And she does the opposite.
So now I'm crazy because I don't love you, right? Is that the point?
No, wrong! You're not crazy, and you do love me.
But I don't. I hate you. You were just some boy who made me laugh at a party once, and now I loathe the sight of you.
She takes it really light, she laughs a lot. There's a feeling that she's reached her threshold and gone beyond that, which is why there is this chaotic, manic laughing that comes about.
In fact, if you come any closer, if you touch me or anything, I think I'll scream.
Come on, stop this.
I love the bit when she almost dares Leonardo to touch her. She has this fire in her eyes, and when he does, you see the exhilaration as she...
Okay, from a filmmaking point of view, there's some filmmaking points of view that I'd like to make here, which is also interesting to view. The scene is shot handheld. They're keeping it sort of dirty, because this is something that you'll find a lot with a film which is shot quite classically, and I believe this is directed by Todd Haynes, I'm not sure, who is a director who works with very, very good actors and does particular kind of character studies. I believe it's Todd Haynes. What he does is he has a very loose camera over the shoulder. He looks like he's shooting on a 35 or something here. I think we're on film. We're not digital yet.
It's a 50, I think.
You think it's a 50? Okay, so what we got here, there's a very interesting thing that he does. Now, you might have heard somebody in a debate on a film set going, I think we crossed the line. I think we crossed the line of camera. And people will have these conversations where they'll start trying to imagine where the camera was, where it was, and where it should be. The line of camera being that if it's in the wrong place, if you're the wrong side of the line, you'll have two people who'll be looking in. They'll be speaking to each other, but they'll be appearing to either look in different directions or in the same direction. Okay? The way you overcome it and the way you do cross the line of camera is you have an obvious camera move or the actor crosses the line. Okay? And then you reestablish a new line, which is called in Spanish, eje de cámara. What he decides to do, which is in the Scream, he crosses the line of camera. Now, I've never really seen this before, so I'm making this up as I go along. If you ever see this show In Treatment with Gabriel Byrne, which is based on the Israeli TV show about a therapist, there's a point in every single episode where there's a revelation that's had, an epiphany that's reached. And what happens is there's a very clear crossing the line of camera. So what it's doing is subconsciously to the audience is telling us, well, now the positions have changed. Now the state has changed. It's occasionally used in a way to create sort of discombobulation. Do you like discombobulation? It's a good word.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, discombobulation, which is, for example, in the first meeting between the king and the vocal coach in the King's Speech.
Yeah, great movie, by the way.
With Colin Firth and I can't remember the name of the Australian actor. Is he Australian? It will come to me. Anyway, what happens is it's deliberately crossing the line of camera. We understand the art, the geography of the place, but one is looking in one direction and the other is looking in the other. And it's designed to create this unsettling thing here. So let me show you this where it crosses the line of camera.
I think I'll scream.
Come on, stop this.
See, we crossed the line of camera there.
I love the bit when she almost dares Leonardo to touch her. She has this fire in her eyes, and when he does, you see the exhilaration as she screams. It's like she's unbound herself. She's not constrained to the conventions of a normal conversation anymore. It's one of the most fascinating things to see on screen when the power shifts between two characters, And in this scene, that is that moment. And I think the choices she makes in it are brilliant.
And she shares with us what goes on there.
Helen's.
Okay.
Very interesting, Scott. Thank you very much.
Did you like that?
Yeah.
You appreciate that? We have Angela Bassett. We didn't get to Peter Finch.
Well, we'll do it another day. Next Thursday.
Peter
perhaps?
Finch, very interesting. The Film Network, which is from 1976, I believe, which was directed by Sidney Lumet. Peter Finch was the first person, but not the last person, to be awarded an Oscar for Best Actor posthumously. He died before it came out, and he's also in his before he got the award.
Oh,
so he's it's the same thing. The second person to get it, as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, is Heath Ledger. And it's very, very interesting because it's a British actor playing an archetypically American role of a TV anchorman. And it's very interesting, the observation here, because what he's sort of doing is he becomes somebody who wants revenge on the world. And it sounds like he's trying to, give a great message of liberation, but really what he's talking about is welcoming chaos. It's a very interesting thing, and it's another curious thing when you have the thing that he has in common with Heath Ledger is that the Joker is also an agent of chaos, which is one of the things which is rather interesting, because the other thing I have analysis of is Batman's villains. So there's a lot of Jokers there, which is of course Heath Ledger's Joker. There's Jack Nicholson's Joker. There's all the Jokers basically, all the Jokers, and Eartha Kitt playing Catwoman, which is delightful. So, I hope that's given an idea of another way of looking at acting and how to view or perhaps deconstruct actors. One of the reasons that I did it like this, I was very interested to see how other people would talk about it and narrate it. There's other things. There's two other acting coaches there who are talking about various different things. And the important thing is that this isn't a criticism of Kira, and because I think this has a great deal to do with the way it was edited. One of the things that we have to do when we're looking at actors and acting is, if we can get away from the thing which has moved us, this surface thing, we have to look behind what the actor is doing and ask exactly what it is they're attempting to achieve in any given moment. And very often that thing they're attempting to achieve, even they don't quite know what it is. Mm-hmm. And one of the most seductive things that an actor can do is allow themselves to be in a state of uncertainty.
We always talk about uncertainty because it's the most grabbing thing for the spectator. And remember, the spectator wants to understand you. So what you have to do is to generate questions, not to give answers. That is really a trick that always works. So when you have to choose between one thing, an election or another election, think about it. What is the less obvious for the audience, and then that is going to be grabbing for everyone that is watching.
And my other revelation recently is optimism.
Yeah.
Is hope. That's a very powerful thing, depending on the context, obviously. If you're playing the Joker, there's not a lot of hope there.
No.
There's a question from Jose Miguel. He says, curiosity.
Do you prefer Nicholson Joker or Joaquin Joker?
It's like, do you prefer a ham sandwich or a pair of patent leather shoes? They're really not. There's nothing really in common between them. One is very clearly in Michael Keaton's Batman by Tim Burton. He's sort
well
of
presented. His expression is so wild.
Oops, hang on. I accidentally hit a button there. I didn't mean to do that. So, Joaquin Phoenix, Joker. It's a film about mental illness and abuse. The fact that it's loosely connected to Joker and Bruce Wayne and all the rest of it is sort of incidental. It could be about anything. That's really the hook that got everybody in to watch it. But it's It's derivative of very many things, and I'm sure they're aware of it. It's derivative of Taxi Driver. It's derivative of the King in New York. Is that called The King in New York?
I don't know what you...
Is it called that? The two Martin Scorsese films.
King of New York?
No, The King Comedy.
No,
Jesus,
yeah,
the
King Comedy.
Jesus, The King of Comedy. Both starring Robert De Niro. So there's a very peculiar... I mean, Joaquin Phoenix is extraordinary in it, and brave and crazy, although I get the impression that Joaquin Phoenix is extraordinary, brave and crazy as a person. It was very interesting to see him talking about it, because he said we had all these ideas and we investigate stuff and we watch videos and we got this guy that was like a prototype, and then by the time we came to the first day of rehearsal, we did the first day of shooting, we did the first day, and then we went, oh, hang on, we didn't think about that guy, because it was already gone. You know, there's a sort of useful, sometimes pragmatic procrastination that happens amongst actors, where we'll do everything in our power to do something, but learning our lines and getting on with it.
Yeah, but sometimes I think that by doing this is also a way of collecting things, and I saw my process, for instance, on the last movie I did, La Sirvienta, and I watched it closely because I wanted to know, how we could explain it to you, and that is great. That is great because you learn a lot about yourself also and your method, and there is this point where actually you have to feel, I mean, when you are an experienced actor or actress, you have to feel motivated by doing it. It's hard because sometimes it could be the material, sometimes it's the director, sometimes is the place where you're going to be, sometimes it's the character, sometimes is but very few times is all of them at once. So you have to be content on having at least one of them, when you're signing up for a movie. And when you have the 5 of them, when you really are really highly motivated because the director is good, because the actors, because there is good ambience, because they pay you well, because everything that you makes you decide to do that movie, then it's like it's like how you call when there is a lollipop, a lollipop, and you don't eat it immediately.
Delayed
exactly.
gratification.
Delayed gratification. You need a little bit that, because if not, it's too quickly. And I think this procrastination also for me is a part of doing that. You really savor this gratification until the last minute, until last. You extend it. You want to feel it. For all these days, it would be too easy to really go there and learn your lines.
Well, the other thing is that very often as actors, the first jobs that actors do, they have to go do a day on a movie or a TV show, and it's thankless, and it's the most difficult job. Nobody knows your name. I remember the first time I noticed that on the side of the camera operator had the list of the actors who were in the scene written down with like a description, so he could say your name. He knew what your name was. Which I thought was very professional.
Yeah, of course. You want that. You want them to feel special.
But it's also like it's like they said in the First World War, when the new soldiers arrived, you didn't bother asking what their names were because they'd probably be dead by tomorrow.
Ah, that's it.
And so there's an element of that where you don't really need to get to know anybody, because
that's not nice. That's not.
It's very tricky.
That's not why we make movies.
No, I know, but if you're not there on the last day, on the day that the movie wraps, you always feel like you left the party before it was over. It's like this. You feel like you've given everything, and people are like that. That's why we now have the tradition. It's been around for a long time, where when somebody finishes their day of work, it's like the first AD will go, "That's a wrap on Assumpta," and they'll give her a big round of applause.
Yeah, it's interesting because we were discussing in this last movie I've done with the lead character. She said to me, "Oh, that's gonna be awful, when I'm out of the job. It's the first movie that I really have this role and all this, and I don't know what I'm gonna do." And I said to her, well, keep yourself busy. Because and you have to say really goodbye to the movie like 3 or 4 days before than everyone, and by doing this you really you can actually fill the void, that is okay, that's done, I've already done it, so now I don't know when I'm gonna have another one.
Well, the other issue is, and this is why actors are risk takers, why they have a tendency to party hard and drink too much and do too many things that they probably shouldn't be doing, is that you are living so intensely, and you're the center of so many other people's jobs, not just hair and makeup and costume, but production and transport and lighting and camera and costumes, sound, and absolutely everything is focused on you, and then you're being captured in this frame here. That all of a sudden all that will to make something happen just disappears, and it's very hard to fall from that. It's very tricky.
Yes, well,
that's why you have big parties at the end.
Yeah, and I think those are the two things that you have to do. To say goodbye if you are a lead role, like 3 or 4 days before the actual wrap, and then keep you busy, for the next day. Having, I don't know, go and buy some shoes or something.
Write a book.
There
you go. That's what Assumpta does.
Yes,
I'll just
that's
sit down and write a book. There we go.
Okay, thank you very much for listening.
Thanks. Thanks for.
Thank you very much to everybody.
It's been very good. I enjoyed that. That was fun.
Yes.
It's very, very interesting to see all those guys doing their thing, and it's very important that we have to be very careful of the people that we list. Oh, Crystal, you turned up late. Crystal.
I missed most of it. She says
you watch the rerun. Yeah, you can watch it right away.
See you two next
Remember,
week.
If this is your first time seeing us on YouTube, to check us out on our playlist. This one's in English. You can see all the other stuff we've done where we review show reels, and we there's one that I did when you weren't here, which is why you should tell your acting gurus to go themselves. That was one thing. So remember to subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss a live stream from us. Sorry, you were going to say something?
No. And if you want to know who is this Familia de Cine and you know a little bit of Spanish, we always can go to familiadecine.com, our webpage.
Which is here. And remember, if you're on Facebook, remember to follow the page and give us a like so you don't miss any of our live streams. And we always post things every single day there in terms of what we're up to.
And we have also a very nice Instagram now from Familia de Cine.
Yeah, Familia de Cine, which you can't miss. I don't have a thing to put on the screen.
But we will.
But we've got that. If you give me 5 minutes, I'll be able to put something up there.
No, that's okay.
Are you sure? And just to let you know that we have a Patreon, which is patreon.com/Assumpta Serna, which is how you enter into the Familia de Cine. And that's been going now since May of last year. And that is allowing us to continue doing what we're doing, because what we like to do is to make acting technique and all the knowledge about film and working as an actor and all the aspects of the process, keep it open source. We like to eliminate all of that idea of superstition and urban legend and how does it work and what do I do, and just apply a Socratic principle and question it, attack it, and if it works, we can use it.
Trying to be as most scientific as you can about the your proof and error.
Absolument.
Own experiments in acting.
So,
bye.
Bye for now, and just remember, onwards and upwards.
And here we are again.
Yeah, we're just going to do a very quick after show. Normally we'd run our credits at the end, but we want to get out of here and got things that we've got to do. Tomorrow we're going to be in Spanish at the same time here at 8 p.m. This is a wonderful opportunity for you to improve your Spanish.
Yes.
We haven't started doing it in French yet, which is good because I don't speak French.
Oh, but we should, because Edgar Oppenheimer
Edgar
really wants to do it.
Oppenheimer, when he is here. The trouble is when I try to speak French, it just comes out as Spanish with a French accent.
Yes.
You know, tenemos que hablar sobre todo estas cosas, ¿sabes?
No, but
Es un gran problema.
It'd be very nice to do it in French too. Anyway, we'll see. Okay, so big kiss to everybody.
It's been great to see you all here. Remember, we're live in English every Friday. Thursday. Thanks for that. It's been a long day. Every Thursday. And we continue. We do coaching classes. We help people with their self-tapes. And I help people who have to work in English, or people who are working in English are going to have to work in Spanish. You know, because this entire world that we're working on right now is, for the actor, it's all self-tapes and Zoom meetings.
Exactly.
You know, I've had people get jobs through Zooms. I've had people get agents.
Yeah.
The world is wide open right now. You can audition in one country and get a job in a completely different one. Everything has been blown open completely.
That is so nice.
And all you got to do, and here's the secret to success, be exceptional. That's all. Bye for now.